First, I was going to title this Swing and a Miss, and then I realized you really got to take the high road. And to me, this is the real problem. What do? Grandmama shows up, got these crossover toes. And in my mind, this is really two distinct problems. There's a hallux valgus, and there's a second toe MPJ instability. And first, and I want to thank Judy for this slide, in my mind, the hallux valgus, if it's mild, you do a distal chevron. If it's moderate, you do the proximal osteotomy, or you do the lapidus, as Dr. Santrock has said. I think in your mind, this is the key question, the crossover toe. Toes have gone bad. Some go varus, some go valgus, some flex, some have calluses, some are short. And I think to understand this, you have to go over the critical anatomy. First, we know there are extrinsic tendons, EDLs, EDB. We know the flexors are the FDLs. And furthermore, the intrinsic tendons, like the interosseous lumbricals, play a major role because they flex the MTP and extend the PIP and DIP. And finally, there's the static stabilizers, the plantar plate, and the collateral ligaments. There is a potpourri of surgical procedures open for the crossover toe. And in my mind, there are three problems: hammer toe, collateral ligaments, plantar plate. There's this concept of the normal metatarsal parabola, which leads to the question, is it the long second metatarsal normal, or is the second metatarsal instability caused by the long second metatarsal? In my mind, it's the combination of the long second metatarsal that puts pressure and leads to the intrinsic plate pathology. Now, the classic procedure, of course, is a Girdlestone-Taylor, the flexor to extensor tendon. But we know there are many open toe, hammer toe solutions, arthroplasties, fusions, and implants. For example, Coughlin, in his series of 118 toes, reported great results. 84% were satisfied with simple K-wire fixation. There's also this PIP fusion method. Layman describes as peg and socket, 95% fusion. Now, I'll be honest with you, 26% said they were too straight, leading to only about 48% satisfaction. But there are, as a result, open implants, and even more implants as shown here. So furthermore, there is this concept of the long second metatarsal. And depending upon the severity, you can do a distal, like a Weil, or a diaphyseal osteotomy. Now, the Weil is very simple. We all know it's a osteotomy parallel to the plantar aspect of the foot, but it's done too vertical, you get a metatarsal head displacement. And as a result, this is the problem, the orphan toe. And as a result, you think about why. Well, as you displace the metatarsal head plantar, you'll get extension at the PIP, DIP. So as a result, people have talked about different techniques. We know the Weil can get the appropriate shortening. We know the Weil can get correction of medial lateral translation. But if you displace a plantar, you run the risk of the orphan toe. Baruch modification has talked about how you can correct this by taking that segment of bone to avoid this problem. But you can always do a diaphyseal shortening, as given to me by Judy's slide. Finally, there's the collateral ligament issue. The classic article is Haddad and Meyerson's article of EDB tendon transfer. As shown here, you have instability, loss of collateral ligament, you do Z lengthening of the EDL, you come in, you harvest the EDB, pass it under the intermetatarsal ligament, and then reestablish the collateral ligament with an open suture repair. I don't know how you're going to do this miss. And finally, the cutting edge concept of the plantar plate, dorsal and plantar. As you can see here, a dorsal approach is a Weil osteotomy, plantar plate repair with a Weil fixation. And you can see the incision as shown here. You come in, you release the damaged plantar plate, you pass it the sutures through drill holes in the proximal phalanx, you tie it down, and then you do your Weil fixation. The plantar approach, of course, is still done with a dorsal Weil, but now you're doing a direct plantar plate repair with PIP fusion. Here's the incision on the patient, a plantar approach. You can see the x-ray showing the Weil fixation with the PIP arthrodesis and the direct visualization of the plantar plate repair. And this is that same patient now, 3 months later. I think the advantages are simple. The dorsal combines all aspects of the pathology, very unique system, a learning curve. Plantar is simple. There's less risk of a floating toe, but you may get scar pain on the plantar aspects. So in summary, address the bunion. We know that the second crossover toe has many issues: hammer toe, long second metatarsal, plantar plate, loss of collateral ligament. Just got to know your headaches, and more importantly, be reliable. Do it open. Thank you. And I want to thank these people for their slides.